host of the Gridiron.
How much better was the Giants' offensive line in 2024? Well, it was a little bit better. Okay, it was a little bit better. So Carmen Brasillo, did help. All right, I'm going to share my screen here. The one thing, I to be fair, I don't know. I didn't have a lot of time to watch a lot of games this season or follow the other teams as much as I would like to. But the one thing that just kind of a little mind blowing, right, is that our defensive coordinator who went defensive coordinator, Bobby Johnson, our offensive line coach, defensive coordinator, offensive line coach who went to the Commanders, their offensive line, according to PFF. That's all I'm going by. Now, a lot of it might also have to do with because Jaden Daniels is there. That helps a little bit, right? His elusiveness, and that might help. Okay. But they, it just kind of makes you scratch your head, right? Is that they were the 20 by PFF, right? The Washington Commanders last season, 2023. I think they were the 24th ranked offensive line. Now, I said I didn't break it down. A lot of guys get injured, this, that, and the other thing. I didn't do that. All I know is they were the 24th, I think it was, rated offensive line last season. This season, they went to number 10 with Bobby Johnson, the coach, offensive line coach. Now, I don't know what happened. I don't know how he took them. I knew they drafted somebody and they worked out well. Why he couldn't do that with the Giants? No idea. Maybe it's the scheme. I don't know. But how he was able to take the Commanders from number 24 to number 10, and with the Giants were just total trash. I mean, the Giants were injured at injury issues as well in 2023 and all that. So, but I mean, we lost Andrew Thomas for some time last season, right? I mean. Remember the hamstring? Right? Remember that? I mean, what 5 minutes into the season, pulls his hamstring, misses a ton of time, right? So, but let me share my screen here, okay? And I'll show you. Now they did get a little bit better. That they did. So let me see here. Yeah, Giants offensive line. Let me share my screen here. Where are we at here? Is it gonna pop up? Oh, there it is. Okay, hold on. Look here. Blocking grades. I don't know if this is 2023 or what is this here? 2024. Okay, that's cool. But you'll notice here, right? The Giants had 11 guys, okay? They had 10 starting offensive line units, okay? But they had 11 guys. Now, if you look here, we'll go from top to bottom. Andrew Thomas had a kind of a downer year, right? But some of that, maybe his injuries, were affecting him. But you'll notice here, okay, we had a lot of guys, at least at the 50s. Jake Kubas was 52.2. We had two guys, okay, Stinney and Hubbard. Now, these two guys, okay, and GVR. Where's GVR? Okay, so, yeah. Now, he played all the snaps. I mean, how he played guard and he played center. Might not be a bad idea to see if this guy will want to come back, right? May not be a bad idea. Rated at a 63.4 altogether. He gave up 7 sacks. Okay. But if you look here, what did we give up? 15, 16, 17. Who gave up 6? John Michael Schmitz gave up 6. I said it's 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Maybe 29 sacks all season. I mean, just the offensive line gave up 29 sacks. So, right. According to PFF. But as I said, GBR may not be a bad thing. Maybe bring him back. He graded out of 63.4. Right, just solid numbers. Nothing super spectacular. I mean, to get scores into the 70s would be really nice. But it is what it is. But you'll notice here, as I said, I think Stinney and Hubbard are free agents now. I don't know if we'll be bringing them back or not. We don't know. But if you look here, right, we had 11 different guys. Okay. 9 out of the 11 at least graded out at a 50. Okay. Now, once again, we had 10 starting offensive line units. Now, what also makes this thing that much more, to me, impressive is that there was no Saquon Barkley back there. Okay. Right. Saquon Barkley, changes the defenses around a little bit, right? What they pay attention to, and but I said, but 9 out of the 11 at least graded out at a 50. Okay. Now, if we go to, let me go back to. All right, let me share, and hopefully, let's see, I share my screen. Let me share the 2023. Okay, good. All right, I'll bring this down here. Here we go. Here we go. This should be the 2023 here. Okay, cool. Now you look here, okay. Now with Bobby Johnson, now Andrew Thomas once again rated in the 70s, okay. But here, okay, look. We had 14 guys. Now, obviously, of course, you got to look to Jalen Thomas only, was 3 snaps, but he graded out in the 60s. That's 60, right? But we had like Sean Harlow had 16 snaps. Shane Lemieux at 91. Jalen Mayfield at 47. But I mean, if you look, right, okay, out of the 14 guys, even if you want to throw Jalen Thomas in there, right, who had like 3 snaps, played in 1 game at center, right? Only 4 out of the 14 graded out at a 50. This year with Carmen Basillo, right, 9 of the 11 graded out 50 or above. Here you had McKeithen with a 45, Harlow with a 45, Peart with a 42, Bredesen with a 42, Azuda with a 42, Pugh with a 41, Michael Schmitz 41, Evan Neal 39, Shane Lemieux 34, and Mayfield. So we had 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 guys. 10 guys graded out at below a 50 last year. Now, as I said, let's see, Michael Schmitz was a 41. I forgot what it was here. He went to a 61. Okay. Went from a 41 to a 61. His pass blocking, his run blocking got better this year. His run blocking went to a 67. What was it there? Went from a 51. His pass blocking last season was a 26.9. This year was a 50. Right? It was a 50. 50.2. Okay. So his he went from a 41 to a 61. He still has, obviously room for improvement. I really like this. I mean, stuff I hear, and you can see too. Sometimes he gets overpowered. He's not quite, as stout as we'd like him to be. Maybe as strong or as as we maybe like him to be. Maybe if he can work on his, some of his strength and everything, that might help him. But this year with Carmen Basillo, we went. John Michael Schmitz went from a 41 to a 61. As I said, last year with Bobby Johnson as our coach, out of the 14 guys, offensive linemen, tackles, guards, and centers, right? 10 out of the 14 graded below a 50. This year, only 2 out of 11 graded below a 50. So the offensive line definitely, stop sharing here. Okay. Definitely got better. Now, there's an article here, too, I want to read. It goes to show you a little bit. I mean, the Giants, the overall team offensive line, according to PFF, went up a little bit. Not a lot. Went up a little bit. But I mean, once again, one of the biggest things is the more the guys play together, right? They know, right? I mean, the Giants, right? When we had Seibert and Deal and O'Hara and Snee McKenzie, they played all whatever it was 4 or 5 years in a row, almost every game. They had that streak going, right? They knew the strengths and weaknesses. I mean, there's cohesion there. They know what each guy's thinking, what each guy's capable of doing, not capable. That's huge. The Giants didn't have that this year. 10 different starting offensive line units. That's tied for the worst. It's very difficult to get good offensive line play when each week you have different guys in there rotating. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Now, once again, you don't know next year, right? The Giants are going to be healthy or not, but you can hope. But so we got this here. It's offensive line here. All right. What we got here? How much did the Giants O-line improve from 2023? A year after being credited with 85 sacks. Thank you, Bobby Johnson. The second most sacks allowed by a team in the NFL began since the NFL began tracking the statistics. The 2024 Giants offensive line appears to be on the upswing. Per Pro Football Focus, the Giants' 2024 O-line, like the 2023 version, went through 10 different starting combinations thanks to injuries. They finished 23rd. Okay. So apparently last season they had 10 units, which is that's the kiss of death. That's just a kiss of death for your team. Absolute kiss of death. You would truly need Tom Brady back there or Patrick Mahomes or somebody like that, really, to be able to weather that storm. I mean, that's horrible. Absolutely horrible. That's a jump of 7 slots from where the unit finished in PFF's 2023 final rankings. So, let's see. Zoltan Buday, who ranked the 32 NFL offensive evaluation, said the Giants' best lineup this year was Andrew Thomas, Jon Runyan, John Michael Schmitz, GVR, and Evan Neal. Ooh, a combination that ironically never got a chance to play together. Closer look at PFF data shows that this line combination was better at pass blocking than at run blocking. PFF has them down for allowing 21 sacks and 125 total pressures. Schmitz finished with the best pass blocking efficiency, presented at 97.1, and Thomas finished with the lowest, 95.9. Now, once again, Thomas had some injuries. Yeah, so hopefully he'll be good to go next season. But surprisingly, though, Jermaine Illuminor, who began the season at right tackle before ending at left tackle, was not included in the 5-man best combination. Illuminor per PFF allowed 29 total pressures, tying him with Runyan for the second lowest among the 5 listed players, making up the best combination. Illuminor was also charged with allowing 4 sacks, the same as Thomas. From a run blocking perspective, the group's star was Neal. Now he's in a phone booth. Put the dude in a phone booth, right, where he's man on man. He doesn't have to worry about people running around him and stuff like that. Put him at guard, right? He can be getting in there, hopefully blowing guys off the line. Now, if he's blowing defensive ends off, that's because they weigh less. Move him into guard, right, where he's playing up against the tackle. He may not be blowing guys off the line, but he can certainly hold his own because the guy across from him does not outweigh him. Right? He's a sequoia tree. He weighs 330, 340, whatever. The guy across from him does not outweigh him. So he should be able to hold his own. And in pass blocking, he doesn't have to worry about, for the most part, the guy trying to dip, duck, dive, dodge, and duck, right, around them to get to the quarterback, right? From a run blocking perspective, the group's star was Neal, whose PFF run blocking grade was 80.8, the highest of the 11 offensive linemen the Giants put on the field this season. Runyan's run blocking grade 52.3 was ranked out of the Giants 11 was the worst. But overall, though, Carmen Basillo and James Ferentz, in their first season tasked with overseeing the Giants' offensive line's improvement, did an admirable job. They didn't take them from 31 to number 3, but they moved them up. They're in the 20s, the low to 23. Maybe once again, if the guys could stay healthy, same guys play on the field week in and week out, there's no reason why, and maybe especially if they draft a guard or somebody like that in the second round, the third, or tackle, right? Draft a tackle in the second or third, get those trenches, right? Work on the trenches, right? But they can stay healthy next season. Same guys. There's no reason this unit can't get into the teens, upper teens maybe. Okay, I'm not saying number 11, not saying number 9 or 8 or something like that, whatever. But let's see. They did an admirable job. The challenges of having to prepare different starting lines for the last 11 games of the season because of injuries. It's just crazy. That's not bad considering the Giants didn't add any offensive linemen in the draft. They didn't add any. They didn't add anybody in the trenches. I mean, unless you want to throw Theo Johnson in there, right, as a tight end. But I mean, they drafted no defensive linemen and no offensive linemen. The offensive line they brought in a bunch, right? Free agency, right? Something they'll probably change this year as they look to build up the unit's depth. Now, the unit's depth, yeah. I mean, certainly without question. I mean, if they see, and they should have a nice amount of draft picks this season. Okay, without question. I mean, you can never have too much depth, especially on the trenches, right? But I said, but I would love, I mean, just for me, this is just me, right? If now there's a couple good tackles. There's a couple good defensive tackles. That there's the I think I'm going to be talking about him in a minute here. Carter from Penn State. You can never have, and I'm gonna go over this in a little bit. You can never have a certain position, right? I'm going to go over that in a little bit. Build up, get these guys that make a difference in the trenches. Because if you can control the line of scrimmage on the offensive and the defensive side, it's amazing what you can do. I didn't see the game. Not going to see it. I will not watch. If my life depended upon it, I will not watch the Eagles win a football. Not. Absolutely not. If the doctor comes in, I'm on life support, and he said, Jeff, we're going to have to pull the plug on you. But if you sit here and watch the Eagles win a football game, spend 3 hours of your life watching the Eagles, we'll keep the plug plugged in, and you're going to live for another 300,000 years. Nope, pull it. I will not watch Eagles win a football. Absolutely not. Will not. Absolutely not. But there was somebody said something along the lines, I saw in one of the Facebook groups, said something like Jalen Hurts is standing in the pocket for like an hour. Nobody's touching him. You know what I mean? I said, if you can control the line of scrimmage, it's amazing what you can do.